What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at some more Older Than You Think I Am stories. Bartender thinks I'm 16. My boyfriend, 28 and who looks like it, and I, 28 female, have a list of restaurants that we want to try. When we don't know what to eat and have some time, we would go through the list. He picked a bar that he has been waiting to try, so off we go. We get there, and since it's a Thursday night, it was fairly empty except for what I assume are some regulars. We look through the menu and walk up to the bartender. The bartender says, "What can I get you guys?" My boyfriend replies, "Can I get a burger with fries? And can I get a burger with fries with wings?" "Sure thing. Any drinks? Can I get a margarita? And can I get the special?" It was some type of drink that was essentially spiked lemonade. Can I see IDs?" The bartender glances at me, trying not to look obvious. My boyfriend shows him first and he takes a brief glance. Then I give him mine. He looks at it, looks at me, looks at the ID again, stretches his arm out to look at the ID from a distance, brings the ID closer and leans on the counter. He shakes his head in disbelief and returns my ID. "Wow, okay, I thought you were younger, so you wanted the special, right?" "Yeah." I'm used to it, so I just brush off his actions, since it's more amusing to me than disrespectful. My boyfriend asks, "How old did you think she was?" "She looks 16. I'm surprised because people haven't mistaken me as a teenager for a while. We go sit down and wait for our food. My boyfriend starts to laugh. "What? He thought you were in high school." I'm not sure how that's an insult, but whatever. "Then he must have thought you were a pedophile." My boyfriend stops laughing. "Hey, wait, hold up." I start laughing because his visible confusion is both adorable and hilarious. The funny thing is, you're absolutely right. Yeah, the truth is that saying you're in high school is not an insult, but saying your boyfriend is a pedophile, yeah, that might just be one. You just have to enjoy a good Uno reverse card from time to time. Moving on to our second story. No, I'm not 14, I'm 26. I have always been mistaken for someone far younger than I actually am. I'm 32 now, though it has happened a little less with each passing year. I have many of these stories. As a public teen librarian a few years ago, I visited a local high school and the school librarian took me on a tour of the school. Partway through, a student tried to flirt with me and made it obvious he thought I was a new student getting a tour of the school. Another more recent time at my job, an older gentleman asked me why I wasn't in school. He probably meant high school, or maybe very generously he meant college, and I had to tell him. Because I'm done with school, I have 2 master's degrees and don't really want a PhD. But the story below is the most ridiculous. This gem happened a few years ago when I was 26. I was on a normal flight back home to visit family. My husband was staying behind to watch our animals, so I was traveling by myself. As everyone is getting settled and we are going through the takeoff checklist, a flight attendant makes an announcement over the intercom that there is an unaccompanied minor on board, and that anyone 14 years old or younger must make themselves known to the flight attendants. Some time passes and we are still not pushing back from the jetway. I begin to wonder what the deal is when suddenly the attendant who made the announcement stalks up to me and asks, quite rudely I might say, "Why didn't you raise your hand?" Now I am horribly confused. Wait, what do you mean? Anyone 14 or under has to make themselves known to the flight attendants as soon as you get on board. Didn't your parents tell you? Now, I am quite short, but not ridiculously so, and I have a really round face that can be interpreted as a baby face, especially if I've not been great about my diet for a little bit. But as young as I may look to some people, I honestly have not looked like I could be in middle school since crossing the threshold into 20 at least. Mom, I'm 26 years old and obviously not 14, especially not younger than that. I am wearing an engagement and wedding ring. Please leave me alone. Don't worry, that was not a huge drop the mic situation. I still had to show my ID as proof, but I got a free cocktail for my trouble. So win? To be honest with you, I'm not sure if the aggravation and embarrassment was worth a free cocktail, but at least you got something. I feel like in a few of these stories that I've read so far on this subreddit, a lot of people, when they're accused of being way younger than they actually are, don't even get an apology or anything in return. So at least you got something to make it kind of worthwhile, I guess. Now for our third story. Refuse sale of CO2 gas because? My partner and I like to drink carbonated water, so we have a SodaStream machine at home. In the interest of saving the planet and saving money, we always return our canisters for exchanges at a UK retailer, which is named after a city in the Greek Peloponnese. I think that could be Argos. For those of you who don't know how this shop works, you make an order either on a computer in-store or with an assistant at the orders desk, pay for it, then sit in a waiting area until the item arrives on a conveyor belt from the back warehouse, at which point another employee checks your receipt to make sure that you're getting the correct item. Yep, that's definitely Argos. SodaStream exchanges need to be processed at the orders desk, so I queued up and went through the order and payment details with the checkout girl. I got my receipt and waited for my number to be called. My problems began when I went up to collect my items. After taking my receipt, the employee, not to be judgmental but classic Karen, awkwardly stares at me for about 20 seconds and then says, "ID?" Now, I'm not someone who gets upset about getting ID'd when an employee is just following regulations and doing their job, but that is not the case here. CO2 gas is not age restricted in Scotland, where I'm from, and ID is not required to purchase it. Moreover, I had already paid for the item. Moreover, I know that I look a bit younger than my actual age, 34, but I think less than 18 is taking the mickey a bit. The following exchange took place. Sorry, ID? What for? This? I don't think this item is age restricted. The order desk girl who rung me through then said to her colleague, "It's not care, you can just complete the order without it." "No, I need to know you're over 18 to sell you this item. I'm just doing my job." You're not doing your job though. The product isn't age restricted. You're doing the opposite of your job. Don't speak to me like that. ID or leave, your choice. Well, I don't have any ID on me. I had just been to the gym, my ID was in the car, so you're going to have to process a refund. At this point, the Karen seemed kind of shocked. I don't think she thought it fully through and had forgot that I'd already paid for the item, so she got the checkout girl to do the refund for her. The checkout girl apologized profusely to me. I just shook my head in disbelief and drove to the supermarket nearby, where I bought my SodaStreams with no problem. I'm still mystified about why this woman had such a bee in her bonnet about my SodaStream. Complete job's worth. Yeah, I've never heard of anyone having to be ID'd to buy CO2, and even if it were required, it would have been required at the point of sale, not the pickup, surely. That woman was just being ridiculous, and she is an utter job's worth. I'm sorry, OP. Perhaps she got confused and thought you were using them for recreational purposes, even though I'm not sure they're used for that. Yeah, I don't know. Moving on to our fourth story. Rude cashier refused to sell me a game. This happened a few months ago, so the details are a little fuzzy. I had just finished work and decided to go to Target to grab some things. One of the things I got was a copy of Fallout 4. I had not played it before and wanted to try it out. I made my way to the checkout line and unloaded my cart when it was my turn. Everything was going normally until the cashier got to the game. He scanned the game and looked at me for a second before pressing something on the screen and putting the game away behind the counter instead of in the bag. The cashier said, "That will be $30. I'm guessing on the price, like I said it was a while ago. What about the game?" "I can't sell you that game." "Why not?" "It's rated. You need to be 18. "I'm 26. I can show you my ID." "No, just pay for your items and leave." Ignoring the cashier's rudeness, I pulled out my driver's license anyway and pointed at the large 1992 printed on the card. I know I look younger than I am, but as you can clearly see, I am old enough. Not to mention the company I work for, I was still wearing my uniform, requires you to be 18 to work there. The cashier snatched my license out of my hand, again rude, and calls his manager over. After a few minutes of awkward silence, the manager makes her way over. "What seems to be the problem?" "He's trying to use a fake ID to buy this game." The manager didn't even look at my license before scanning the game and my license into the machine. "Everything looks okay to me, that will be $50. Again, guessing on the price, but I do know the game was $20. I pay for my items and start to leave as the cashier is glaring at me the entire time. I understand he was just trying to do his job, but he was also being a complete butt about it. I haven't been back to that Target since, but I have finished Fallout 4 a couple of times and it has become one of my favorite games, so it was worth it in the end. You see, in stories like this, I don't understand why they don't just scan your ID in the first place. Like, don't even ask any questions, just scan it, see if it's real or not. Surely that's the entire point of having a machine that checks if IDs are real. I don't really understand what this employee was doing. At least the manager had some sort of sanity about her and just did what you would expect to be done. Like, come on. Now for our final story, just a quick one. Lyft driver reported me for being a minor. This just happened last week. I was just getting off work and ordered myself a Lyft home because I don't have a car. For context, I'm 21, about 5'2", and often get mistaken for a 15-year-old. I've had this problem before where I ordered a ride and the driver asked if I was over 17, which I then tell them I am. This particular ride, however, the driver didn't say anything as I got in the car. He drove me home and I thanked him and got out. Again, no problems. A few hours later, however, I get an email from from lift support stating that the driver had reported that I requested a ride for someone who appeared to be a minor. He never asked me to clarify, drove me home anyway, and then reported me once I'd gotten out of the car. Well, I can't say this has ever happened to me, but I guess that's a reason why you probably should just take your ID with you everywhere you go. Then again, of course, he never asked you to clarify and drove you home anyway. Yeah, that's just a strange one. Guys, comment down below, has this ever happened to you? I feel like this has never happened to anyone apart from this person. Very strange. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of Older Than You Think I Am. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like the video, comment your opinions down below, and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you want more Older Than You Think I Am content from me, click the video on screen right away. I promise you, you won't regret it. With that being said, I will see you guys all later today with another video on my channel, the final one of this decade.